This is episode 2, episode numero dos for my Spanish listeners. This is Juan and Talk Sports. I am your host, Juan, and we are back with another pro wrestling edition. Yes, I know. It's Juan and Talk Sports. Wrestling isn't a sport. Well, this is my podcast, so we're going to talk about what I want to talk about, and I want to talk about some pro wrestling because I'm fired up. I'm fired up from a lackluster Summerslam. I'm fired up from a hot fire Raw, and I'm joined here today by Tyler St. Jean again, who will always be joining me for every wrestling edition. Tyler, how you feeling today?
I'm good. Just got back from golfing a little while ago. I definitely gonna need to go more times because I need to practice. How's your day?
Oh, look, we're talking sports. You hear that? It's an actual sport.
You gotta get a golf plug in there. You know what I mean? We're not all wrestling. We do some other things too, you know?
I'm doing pretty good. How'd you feel about SummerSlam?
I thought it wasn't terrible. You know, it definitely may have even exceeded a little bit of my expectations.
Oh my god.
I haven't seen a WWE pay-per-view that has been, good really in recent history, recently. I think with NXT takeovers on Saturday nights, those have been just kind of destroying the WWE pay-per-views because those have been so good. Let's hear from you. Why do you think SummerSlam was lackluster? What's your opinion on it?
Well, it wasn't the worst pay-per-view.
No.
Like you said, there hasn't been many good pay-per-views this year, really. I think WrestleMania is the best one still. But I feel like with all the cards they had on the table, it could have been a lot better. You had Braun Strowman with a Money in the Bank. You had Becky Lynch, who could have been crowned the new champion that everyone wanted. I'm not a big Becky Lynch fan, but I could see that she's over. I mean, a blind man could see that the crowd loves her. So I can't argue with that. And they turn her heel. So that was a huge issue for me.
Yeah, but to kind of on the other side there, those are two things that they kept the storyline going with, you know? You wanted to see Becky Lynch win, but they turned her heel, and now she's going to feud with Charlotte. And Braun Strowman did come out in he was supposed to cash in, and that kind of set up Raw the next night, which I know you want to get into Raw eventually, and you thought Raw was a really good show. So I feel like, even though they didn't even the results you wanted at SummerSlam, they still did a good job of keeping those storylines going.
Oh, the setup, like you said, the setup for Raw was great. But that has nothing to do with SummerSlam. I think you want to build to your pay-per-views, and they kind of built towards Raw, which I get it. You get in the TV contracts and everyone, it's all about ratings, but you still want to have great pay-per-views.
Yeah,
and I feel like,
I get it.
Back to the Becky Lynch thing, not that just because I wanted her to win and I'm mad she didn't win. That's not the case. I'm just mad that they're really doing the opposite of what they should be doing. Like, you could tell that everyone loves Becky Lynch. Even when she turned heel, supposed to be a bad guy, the crowd cheered her. The crowd said, "You deserve it," to Charlotte after she was getting jumped after the match by Becky Lynch. The crowd doesn't want to boo Becky Lynch. They should have, if you want to continue the storyline with them two, it's easy. Make Charlotte heel. Charlotte's a natural heel. She's a great talker, great trash talker. Becky Lynch is like this baby face that everyone loves, and I don't think anyone's going to really go against her, even though on SmackDown she was blaming the fans. "Oh, you guys never loved me." Like, we all know that's not true. It's just not believable.
Yeah, I mean but it's set up Becky versus Charlotte for a while, which I think that's why the crowd is really happy too, because, and I'm happy also because we get two really good performers, and I know Becky's the heel in this, but I'm a fan of good wrestling, and I think in the women's division, those are two of your better wrestlers, and I think they're going to have a good feud going forward.
Oh, 100%, but why not just do the opposite? Like I said, make Charlotte the heel, continue that story, have Becky Lynch continue to chase the title from the heel champion instead of a heel chasing the babyface champion. I don't get that. That doesn't make sense. I think they really screwed that up big time.
Well, if you listeners out there, if you listen to our first podcast, SummerSlam preview, I thought Charlotte was going to turn heel at the event. If you remember me saying that, I thought she was going to, we went into not really costing the match, but being the reason why Becky didn't win. I thought Carmella was going to retain, but okay. What do you think about Rousey? Rousey kind of destroyed Alexa Bliss in that match. Like, she didn't even stand a chance, and now Ronda Rousey is already your Raw Women's Champion.
That's another thing I didn't like about that pay-per-view. I think that match sucked. I think it could have been, like I said with the Alicia Fox match on Raw, it should have been way faster. If you're going to have a squash match, have a squash match. Don't drag it out for 4 minutes or whatever it was. Just have her hip toss her, armbar, submission like a real UFC legitimate fight. And then crown her the champion that way. Don't drag it out where, I don't know. I didn't like that match at all. What did you think of the match?
Well, no, I didn't like the match, but for a different reason. I didn't think Ronda Rousey should have just beat her in 5 seconds, but I don't like Alexa Bliss is your women's champion since WrestleMania, and Ronda Rousey. I don't think Alexa Bliss had one offensive move in the entire match. It was just she just absolutely got destroyed by Ronda Rousey coming in, and I don't know. I just feel like Alexa Bliss might deserve a little bit better than that, in my opinion.
Maybe, but she's still in the spotlight. She's still in the ring with Ronda Rousey. She's still in the mainstream. It was a big-time match. It was right before the main event. She got spotlight in that match. I just think that she should have... If you're going to do a squash match and make her seem so dominant, just do it a little bit quicker. Do it more realistic to me. Because in real life, Alexa Bliss obviously doesn't stand a chance against Ronda Rousey. So I like that Rousey won that way. If they're not going to do any interference or anything, Rousey should have won. But I didn't like the match.
Do you want to get into what happened on Monday Night Raw already with Rousey, or do you want to talk a little more SummerSlam first, and then we'll?
I'm still not done with SummerSlam because I seen people calling SummerSlam great, and I've seen people call it the worst pay-per-view ever. It's like I put it in the middle. I gave it like a C+.
Middle. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It wasn't great. I mean, if that pay-per-view is great, then what's not great then? Like SummerSlam '99 is great. SummerSlam 2004 is great. SummerSlam 2013 was great when Daniel Bryan versus John Cena. Those were great SummerSlams.
CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar too.
That's a great
co-main event.
SummerSlam is supposed to be your second or third biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah,
and it didn't feel like that at all to me.
Yeah. There were some title changes though. We'll get into that. Seth Rollins' first match of the night, probably the best match of the night. Well, unless you want to say AJ Styles and Samoa Joe.
I like Styles Joe better, but that IC title was really good.
Rollins gets the belt back. Didn't really expect that, and obviously the main event, Brock Lesnar. After over a year of having the belt, he finally loses it, and Vince McMahon or whoever's idea it was. I mean, I say Vince because he's you think it was to have Braun Strowman come out and kind of keep the attention off of. Actually, the attention on him, I should say, so that way the crowd's not booing.
Yeah, it was actually a good idea. Really smart idea to have Braun out there. But the only thing with that is, it was a great idea to keep the fans from hijacking the match and booing the whole match. But it was a tease at the end of the day, and we didn't get what we wanted to get. We wanted Braun to cash that in. We didn't get that. The crowd, I feel like, didn't boo because we didn't think it was over. Like, the people in attendance, I'm sure, didn't think it was over. Even watching at home, I'm like, is Braun going to get up? Is this, like, what's going on here? And then the show ended.
I kind of don't understand how, Braun was still there.
He was still there, the briefcase.
All of a sudden just leaves with his briefcase because Roman...
Brock Lesnar threw his briefcase, 50 feet across the stage?
Oh, yeah,
I thought he was going to hit a fan. Like, that was a pretty accurate throw by him to toss that briefcase. But the match itself was actually pretty entertaining. I enjoyed it for the most part, except until the end. I thought it was one spear and it's over. I mean, we could have did a little bit more than that for a guy that's been champion for almost 2 years.
All right, let's get into the match you just said you thought was the best match of the night, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. So there's matches that end in disqualification, like second match of the night, the Bludgeon Brothers and the New Day. I hated that, and that match was going really well. Like that was probably one of the better matches of the night also. Going really well, and then the ending just absolutely ruined it for me. I don't like how the Bludgeon Brothers, the monsters, had to go in and get disqualified. But when it comes to the AJ Styles Samoa Joe match, it made sense.
That was great.
Made sense. It sets up the future matches between the two,
right?
And kind of where Samoa Joe crossed the line that the championship doesn't even matter anymore. It's personal.
Yes.
And just a little side note too. I'm pretty sure that's really AJ's Wendy Styles. I'm pretty sure that's really like his wife that was in the crowd and his daughter. This is his daughter also.
Did you
when
hear
she said that Daddy's bleeding, like that was like the most unscripted, perfect drama scenario. Like it was like perfect.
Yeah,
like Daddy, you're bleeding. Like as he's like, I know. Like after Samoa Joe just said that, it's definitely got me I'm invested now in this feud. We already were invested because like we said, they had the TNA in the past, but WWE can't use that angle.
Right.
So they use the family, and
something we haven't seen.
It's starting to like really get heated, and I personally am invested in the feud for a while now. I can't wait to watch Hell in a Cell when the rematch has already been announced, and it should be a great match.
Yeah, I'm glad they continued that feud. It's something that we haven't seen from AJ Styles, at least in WWE. We haven't seen a personal side of him. Dude's not attacking physically, but verbally attacking his wife, saying, "I'm going to be your daddy now," and stuff like that. Like, that's realistic stuff that you can get into. And that's my biggest complaint with WWE. I'm glad we do this podcast now, because if we did it a few months ago, it would be all negative, because Raw itself, especially Raw, but WWE was kind of bad over the last few months. But all I ask for is storylines that make sense, and this storyline makes sense. I want storylines that make sense, good in-ring action, and good promos. That's all I ask. Is that too much to ask? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And they're giving us that with, at least with the Styles and Joe, they're definitely giving us a storyline that makes sense. They can go in the ring, and they're both cutting good promos. So I'm all in on that feud. Let's get on to what else do we have to cover?
Well, is there anything else from SummerSlam? I know Elias had a segment where his guitar broke. I don't even know if that was real or fake, or that was
awful.
I'm not really gonna get into that too much.
Finn Balor. I saw
the Demon. Yep,
saw his
Balor.
Demon entrance. That was cool.
Yep.
Fast forwarded to the rest of the match. I'm glad it was a fast match, because
it was a squash
I
match.
don't want to watch Constable Corbin at all.
Yeah, that whole. Now we know the reason why that match was put on the main card. We were saying that.
Yeah, just for the.
There
Demon.
were some matches in the pre-show that actually we would rather see on the main card, but that was all about just Demon Balor, and that's it.
Cool for the live crowd.
Squash match, Demon Balor wins, and then that's it.
The Miz Bryan, the promo before the match again was amazing. The video package, the match itself could have been a little better. It was okay. It was a good match, but I think it went a little too long.
They'll be going at it for a while, like we said in the first episode. The only other match announced for Hell in a Cell is, how do you feel about the mixed tag match? Now the wives are brought in, and what do you think?
I think it's a good way to continue it. It's not my favorite match, but I think the storyline will be really good, and it's kind of like the Joe and Styles feud. It's getting personal, but on a different level. They're bringing both their wives in. They both have reality shows.
I was just going to bring that up.
It can get good, kind of like the Cena and Miz match from WrestleMania a couple years ago.
Yeah, when he proposed. But I was just going to say,
storyline's better than the match, I think.
I think the match has a lot to do with the reality show, Total Bellas and Miz and Mrs. So they're trying to get more viewers that way. The ones who watch the show, and like now they got episodes they can run for those shows, and saying how they're gonna have a big match, and they're both in it. And it works when WWE's a business, and it's a smart business, and they are rolling out these shows on the USA Network they kind of own anyways. They have that for SmackDown, Raw, but they're on like the E channel with the Bellas, and they're just trying to spread out their business. So they obviously have to. The Bellas,
a lot of non-wrestling fans watch those reality TV shows, and if they can get a little bit of interest to maybe tune in on Monday or Tuesday night to watch the weekly programming, I think they'll capitalize on that, and they'll push that on every network they can. That's definitely going to get mainstream attention.
We're all over the place this past weekend. They were on SummerSlam and then Raw, SmackDown. They can't get off our TV screens. Anyways, so you already kind of were talking about Raw the past few weeks and SmackDown, and I predicted, as soon as the Superstar shakeup happened, SmackDown has had the better roster, and it's been shown, because I feel like they call Raw the A show, but in my opinion, SmackDown has been the show to watch. But
SmackDown's way better.
It is way better.
I said, Raw, I won't even say weeks. It's been months.
It's been Raw a lot.
Damn near been unwatchable for me.
It's pretty bad.
I watch it, like I say, I watch it on DVR, and a lot of the time I'm fast forwarding through these matches that don't mean anything, or these promos that we've seen last week, or recaps. Like, it gets bad it's been bad with connecting storylines and stuff like that. It hasn't really.
In my opinion, I think a huge reason also is the 3 hours compared to the 2 hours.
Exactly.
I think 3 hours is too much. They don't even know what to put anymore on the show. They're just giving us
3 hours to watch anything,
because they don't know if they need filler. They need to fill up the 3 hours, and
unless it's a live sport, 3 hours is really tough to watch any show. Yeah. Think about your favorite show at home. What is your favorite show? Is it Power? Is it Game of Thrones? Think about if that show was on every week, no off season, every single week for 3 hours. There's going to be a lot of bad programming in there at some point. Like, I don't care who the writers are, but it has to be better. It has to be better than it's been in the past 6 months.
Yeah, it's been a while. But with that said, this past Monday, you really liked the show. So
for the first time in a long time.
First time in a long time. Well, let's get into that. Let's
I
talk
love
about
Raw.
this. The Monday Night Raw, still in the Barclays Center. They'll go to the Barclays Center all weekend. NXT TakeOver. I already brought it up at the beginning of the show, but that might have been one of the best shows I've seen in a long time. They all it's almost like, how is this going to be better than the last TakeOver? And they always do it. And NXT right now is on fire. Triple H he knows what he's doing. I think HBK is helping him, and they're nailing it right now. NXT, it's almost like the guys don't even want to get called up anymore because they're getting their characters ruined when they get to the main roster, and that's kind of a problem.
I don't get it. For those who don't know, Triple H runs NXT. Shawn Michaels has been also down there helping in the Performance Center, training these young guys. But like I said, if I've told my friends this who are like ex-fans and like casual fans, if you want to get back, if you think wrestling sucks right now, which it kind of does, but if you want to get back into wrestling, I would say watch NXT.
Yeah.
If you watch a few episodes of NXT and you don't like it, then wrestling isn't for you. But if you want to get into some good wrestling, good stories, good in-ring action, watch a few episodes of NXT or watch a couple takeover specials of NXT, and you can't go wrong. I think they're pretty much all incredible.
Yeah, like I said to you one day, it's WWE, like Raw, SmackDown, those are like for the mainstream viewers, and NXT is like more for the diehard wrestling fans. So yeah, I was alluding to, and I'm sorry, I got off track talking about NXT in the Barclays Center, but Monday Night Raw. Okay, let's get to it. You want to start with the ending segment with Braun Strowman now is really looking to cash in, and
before I get into the end, I like how it began. I missed the beginning, and then I went back and watched it.
Yeah,
how it started with Roman Reigns in the ring. Saying, I'm the new champion. I'm not like Brock Lesnar, kind of playing to the crowd. I'm not like Brock Lesnar. I'm going to defend this title every week or whatever. And he said, I want to defend it against a guy who actually won the title here in Brooklyn, but he got injured and didn't get a chance to defend it, which makes sense. Again, like I said before, I want storylines that make sense. It's not that hard. This made sense. He called out Finn Balor, gave him a rematch that night in Brooklyn. Place went nuts. I went nuts. That was a great match for the... If you don't like Roman Reigns, you like Finn Balor, so you're going to want to see this match. And then the whole show pretty much was built around that main event, which it should be. Keep promoting the main event, and it got me fired up for the main event. And finally, we got the main event, which was 25-minute match. It was a pretty good match.
Yeah, they gave him some time, and I'm sure a lot of you listeners watched Raw, but if you didn't watch, what happened was Braun Strowman came out at the end, and it was going to make us cash. It basically gave it to the ref. They announced it out loud, but the bell never rang, which a lot of people get confused with that because a lot of people thought that Strowman is now not, the Mr. Money in the Bank anymore.
That bell.
But the announcer announces it, and then all of a sudden the Shield's
Hotel India Echo.
The Shield's music hits, and Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins come walking out, and that's it. It reminds you of when the Shield was together.
It was a great moment. The only thing I hated about the moment was Michael Cole saying, "What a moment!" I'm like, yeah, I know it's a good moment, Michael Cole. Don't say "What a moment." He said at least 9 times. What a moment! What a moment!
Yeah.
Like when something's really a moment, you don't have to say it. You can tell in time. You look back and say, "Wow, that was a great moment."
Just make it a moment. Don't just sit there and tell us how good of a moment it is.
What a moment!
I don't know if that's his fault
right. It was,
or
I don't.
If someone's in his ear,
I'm blaming him. He's on live microphone. Don't say that 5 times. We know it's a good moment. Just let it play out. But the Shield destroyed Braun Strowman, put him through a table. It was definitely vintage Shield to be Michael Cole for a second.
Yeah,
but
he really is like the worst announcer.
It was great. It was a great way to end it. Great way to tease it. Great way to build the story more because last summer Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns had a great feud. But now instead of just rehashing that, there's more layers to it. Now we got the Shield involved. Now it's like Braun Strowman, can he overcome this by himself? And I texted my friend Jaron on the night when it happened. Not as soon as, but when Braun Strowman got in the ring and he was staring down Roman Reigns and you had Ambrose and Rollins on the other side, for a split second, I thought, wow, what a great moment for Bray Wyatt to come back. What if the lights went out, came back on, and Wyatt was there to help Braun Strowman fight off the Shield? That would have been incredible. And then I was like, all right, that's not going to happen. WWE isn't that good. Let me just enjoy this moment. But then, like, I think it was the next day, Bray Wyatt posted a tweet from like 2014 saying, "Don't take your guns to town, son. Leave your guns at home, Shield. Don't take your guns to town. Hashtag Elimination Chamber." And during that time, the Wyatt family was feuding with the Shield, and they had a match at Elimination Chamber. And I guess that quote's from a Johnny Cash song, but he quoted that and said, "Forget not." So that to me leaves the door open. Like, is he gonna help Bray Wyatt? Is he gonna help Braun Strowman? Is he just quoting that for no reason? I don't think he would put that for no reason. A 4-year-old tweet the day after Braun Strowman got attacked by the Shield 3-on-1. So do you think Braun Strowman is going to get some help here with Bray Wyatt? Do you think he's going to go at it alone? Where do you think this is headed?
I'm not sure, but they did a really good job of ending the show with a lot of questions, because I don't think anyone's sure of like what's going on, because the Shield's come out like, are they good guys? Are they supposed to be bad guys? I mean, the way Michael Cole made it sound with this is a moment and everything like that, is that they're still good, but like
they don't loves Braun too.
But like, who, if they're good, like who? Then why are they coming out and like doing that to Braun Strowman? These guys are trying to cash in his Money in the Bank contract.
Well, it does make sense too, because like, are you gonna let your brother get? He just went through a 25, 30-minute match. You're gonna let him get his title taken away from him after a big match by a monster among men?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it makes sense for them to come out and help him, and now, yeah, I don't know. To end the show like that was great, because I can't remember the last time they ended a show where I'm like, well, I can't wait for next week. When's the last time that's happened? It's been a while.
It's been a long time for Raw, yeah.
Right.
Well, a little bit before that main event, Ronda Rousey was out. They had all the women on the roster, on the ring, and Stephanie McMahon, and that segment felt really flat to me.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, but what do you think they're leaning towards? I think the main thing they're leaning towards here is they announced Kurt Angle's going to go on. He needs a vacation. I mean, they didn't even announce how long. It's kind of weird how they say, okay, you need a vacation, and now Constable. So we know this upcoming Monday, Constable Corbin's going to be in charge, and Ronda Rousey's going to. Is she like the new Stone Cold? Like, is she going to be anti-authority? What do you think?
That's what it feels like. Kind of like they're forcing it, like the Stone Cold. It's like the female Stone Cold, where she's just beating up Stephanie every chance she gets, breaking her arm, re-breaking it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what they're doing with Kurt Angle. Are they keeping him away for a match? Does he actually need time off? I don't know, because I think Jason Jordan is I think he's been cleared, so I don't know if they're waiting to use him. Maybe Corbin brings him back or something like that. I don't know, but I hate Constable Corbin. So I'm not really interested in him being GM, but I am interested in Raw as a whole and where it's going.
All right. Is there anything else you want to get to about Raw, or do you want to move on to SmackDown?
No, I think that pretty much wraps up Raw. I'm excited for next week. The main event picture is red hot right now. I like where the Shield's going. I like that Braun. We don't know what's going on with Braun. Does he need help? Does he not? So all those questions, like you said, those are good things. That's what we want. We don't want to predict everything that's going to happen. I don't want to know what's going to happen next, and that makes it exciting. And I'll be tuned in next week. So on to SmackDown. We talked a little bit already about some of the things going on in SmackDown. Something that happened at the end of the show is the New Day got their rematch with the Bludgeon Brothers, and it's interesting that Big E wasn't in the match. It was just Kofi and Xavier, and they gave him the win. Like, there wasn't interference or anything like that, and come to find out, it's because Eric Rowan has a torn shoulder. He has a significant injury where he's going to be out of action. So obviously the Bludgeon Brothers had to give the belts, and the New Day was the next team that they wanted to give them to. What do you think about Luke Harper coming back now as a singles wrestler? Because I feel like he was doing really well, and he was like he was a crowd favorite when he was going up against Bray Wyatt, and then he had that knee injury that kind of stalled that, brought him back up with the Bludgeon Brothers. But I think he has something going, and I think they have something as a singles star in Luke Harper, I should say. Luke Harper's really talented. I think they can do a few things. They can definitely keep him as a single, or move him to a single, I should say, and keep him on SmackDown. But if we're playing into my theory here, I think it makes perfect sense. They drop the titles. Rowan's hurt. You take Luke Harper, slide him over to Raw, have the Wyatt family, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper versus the Shield. I think that's where they should go. And then SmackDown, like we talked about last week, the depth of their tag team division is incredible. They don't really need the Bludgeon Brothers. They have the New Day. They have the Bar. They have Sanity. Who else is over there? They have Gallows and Anderson. Like there's a lot of guys. Usos. Yeah, they have a lot of talent in the tag team division. They don't need the Bludgeon Brothers. And Raw could definitely use Luke Harper, either whether it be in the Wyatt family or by himself.
All right. Looking forward. A couple of pay-per-views coming up. Talked about Hell in a Cell, those 2 matches. I know we just kind of left Raw, but now we're talking about the Super Show coming up in Australia. Triple H obviously gave his promo on Raw. Are you excited at all for this match, Triple H versus Undertaker, for the 500th time? And is this really the last time? Because every time they wrestle, they keep telling us the end of an era, the last time you'll see it. So, as fans, are we supposed to believe it when they tell us this is the last time that these 2 guys are going to wrestle each other?
With these 2 guys, I think it's safe to say this is probably the last time we'll see it. And I'm excited for that match. I'm not excited for the pay-per-view as a whole because kind of like the Greatest Royal Rumble, it's just we know it's a money grab in real life. Yeah, that's all it is. Like, some of the storylines probably won't even connect to what's going on a weekly basis. But I did like Triple H's promo. Triple H can cut a promo with the best of them. So he got me fired up talking about the Attitude Era, saying my era was special. Like, all that stuff resonates with me because that is the greatest era ever.
Oh, definitely. Also, coming up at the end of October is the first time ever the Women's Evolution pay-per-view. Obviously, we talked about Rousey, how she's becoming a star on the Raw brand. The person that she just beat, Alexa Bliss, it's already an announced match. Trish Stratus, who's obviously a legend, Hall of Famer, is coming back and wrestling, and the opponent that she's going up against is Alexa Bliss. Are you excited about that match? And how do you feel the pay-per-view is going to play out? Do you think obviously Rousey's going to have one of the bigger matches? And do we see do they hold Charlotte Becky till then? What do you think?
I think we'll get Charlotte Becky before that, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really good pay-per-view. Like I said, it seems like they're going all out with Trish Stratus, as you mentioned, and I'm sure there'll be other legends involved. They haven't announced really the full card. I think that's the only match so far, but it's definitely going to be interesting. I just hope that they can do Sasha Banks versus Bayley. That was kind of my biggest disappointment from SummerSlam going into it. I didn't mention it last week, but I meant to. That Sasha Banks and Bayley, that feud is really good. I think that needs to pick up more immediately. Like they're kind of a team.
No, wait a minute. You don't like the Boston Hug connection?
Yeah, that's awful. That tag team is just
we want to see them wrestle each other.
Awful.
That's what. Yes.
And if you haven't seen them wrestle each other, go to the WWE Network. Watch NXT Takeover 1. Was it? I think it was the first one.
Was it the first one?
NXT Takeover
right?
1 in Brooklyn. NXT Takeover Brooklyn 1.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks versus Bayley, one of the best women's matches, if not the best women's match I've ever seen in my life. It's a really great match. If you're skeptical at all about women's wrestling, or you do like women's wrestling, either way, you need to check that match out, and it'll change your mind about that feud. And I think they can have an equally good match at Evolution or any other pay-per-view.
Should be a really good pay-per-view at the end of October. Speaking about, we talked about NXT TakeOver. I know you wanted to give a quick shout-out to the Ricochet Adam Cole match. Fantastic. Those 2 guys, in my opinion, need to be stars in the WWE. I think Adam Cole has the it factor they talk about. I think he's a top heel, and Ricochet is just absolutely fantastic. So
Ricochet,
sky's the limit for those guys.
One of the best athletes I've ever seen in wrestling. Yeah. Period. Watch that match. Adam Cole versus Ricochet for the what's it called? Not the Intercontinental
North American
title on NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Watch that match.
Home Undisputed Era 2, the tag match, and
what about the super kick in that match? The Adam Cole versus Ricochet.
Oh yeah, that's up there. The HBK.
I watched that like 17 times.
The HBK on SmackDown when he super kicked Shelton Benjamin for the win. That was the only super kick of all time that people will put up against that one that happened last Saturday.
Yeah, it was incredible. It really was incredible. And that pretty much wraps up episode number 2. NFL coverage coming soon. We're doing a season preview. More WWE coverage coming soon. Other sports coming soon. Just tune in and we'll be here for you.